Hi, I'm Alan Scherstuhl. I'm the editor at BookLife Reviews, and today we're taking a first look at a couple of books that have come across our desks. We take a first look at a book, we look at the cover, we look at the marketing copy, we look at the first couple pages, all with this question in mind: what is this book promising readers it will be, and how does each piece of it that we look at reinforce or surprise us, or how does it all work out?
And I'm Matia Query. I'm the editor of BookLife. And we get started.
First, we are going to look at this novel, No One You Know, by Emma Tourtelot. We're guessing that it's Tourtelot is the pronunciation. And the book is blurbed by Jenny Ophil here on the cover, with this blurb that says, a heartbreaking, keenly observed novel about love and loss and all the territories in between. And if you look at the cover, which is this wonderful painting of rustic forest life, very powerful, and it immediately suggests exactly what that quote is suggesting, which is we're kind of in this in-between space. There's no people here. The lowercase title, the pronoun, there are no proper nouns around here. Like, it all suggests that this is going to be about being human in nature and making sense of a complex world. And nature should be a refuge often, but it looks here like it might not be.
So my first thought seeing this cover is that it looks like the Hudson Valley. It looks like one of the Hudson Valley school painters. It's got this beautiful glowing quality to it. And this is a case where I think the quote on the cover is actually quite helpful, because looking at this, it's a little unclear what the genre might be. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be romance or a drama. And this quote here that you read does give a little bit more clarity about what I'm picking up. The painterly quality is quite lovely, and I appreciate the lowercase lettering. I find that it was a smart design choice. I don't know exactly why it works, but it's very effective.
To me, everything here suggests literary fiction, and especially the lowercase, and then the text running down the side. On the side, it's a little quirky, but it's very inviting. And it's also, I think, an intentionally ambiguous image. Like, we don't know if it's sunset. We don't know if it's sunrise. We don't know if this is a place that feels soothing. We don't know if this is a place where we're lost. And honestly, who doesn't feel like that? And that's what literary fiction does. It tells us, yes, I felt like this too. That's what I'm guessing we're in for here, right?
All right, so we're going to take a look at the marketing copy for No One You Know by Emma Tourtelot. I'm just going to read a few lines here. What if the only way forward is to let go of everything you know? Kate's life in the Hudson Valley seems picture perfect. A thriving career as a realtor/momfluencer, a devoted husband, and a strong bond with her brilliant teenage daughter, Indy. But when Indy's best friend dies suddenly, their idyllic small-town haven begins to crumble. Kate and Ethan lose their footing, and Indy, alone in her grief, falls down an internet rabbit hole of nihilism and existential despair. Okay. So, Hudson Valley. So the cover was appropriate. There are a lot of sort of, the momfluencer note it's kind of a buzzy term, because in my experience anyway, there's sometimes a lot of darkness that goes along with the influencer community and the momfluencers specifically. And so for me, I perk up at that. I know that this is a situation possibly about appearances versus reality, and we're in for someone losing a lot. And I think the way this is presented, it's fairly succinct, ropes me in. I know the main players already, and I appreciate that was done in a fairly short period of time.
You use the word buzzy, and that surprises me here. The cover the cover looked a little more out of time than the marketing copy makes it sound. And I imagine that the person, like if I saw this book on a display at a store, I imagine the people who are picking it up are people who are looking for something that is probably heavier on nature writing than on figuring out how we all fit into the current online hellscape, which we're part of right now. And this marketing copy, though, I think is very strong and is very clear and absolutely invites me into the book, establishes what the parameters of this book probably are, and makes it clear that this is going to be a very exploratory book, probably without easy answers. And the cover suggests that last part, but I do think the cover looks a little more out of time than this. It looks a little more like it might be the cover looks like might be more lyric reflections of life outside of the city rather than life in our online world right now. And now we're looking at the first couple pages here of No One You Know by Emma Tourtelot. And the prologue, we have a prologue and then the first chapter here. The prologue is very short. And the prologue is very lyric, and the first chapter is much more punchy. The prologue is set at some indeterminate time, and the first chapter is set 6 months ago. The prologue has no character name at the top. The first chapter has a character named Indy. There's a lot of information you can get just from the way this is structured and laid out. But what I'm always looking for when I start reading the first couple words of a book, is a strong flow of thought, something that is going to carry me through from one line to the next. And this voice immediately grabs me, immediately pulls me in, immediately immerses me in the mind of this person who is driving along, worrying about deer crossing, thinking about the past, thinking about the Hudson Valley. And it's both beautiful and it's spinning a little out of control. I mean, the character's perspective is spinning out of control. The author's control feels very, very strong right here. And I found this very powerful. And then it cuts to Indy, the daughter who we know from the marketing copy, talking about making a friend. And what I found really remarkable in both of these passages is that both have incidental suspense just woven into them. The prologue has this constant thrumming fear of hitting a deer, which is incredibly relatable to anybody who's ever driven in Hudson Valley. And the first chapter has the absolutely relatable fear of a young person standing up for what they believe in. This young person, this Indy, the narrator here, is refusing to perform the Pledge of Allegiance at school. And when you're in a place like the Hudson Valley and you resist going along with its ceremonial norms, even as a young person, that you could, just as a deer could jump out into the road at any time, someone could jump out and tell you, get back in line and do what you're supposed to do at any time. This to me feels like it is going to be a book that is very much about the tensions of being alive right now in a compelling way.
I agree. And the prologue places us back in nature, but there's also some tension there. We're literally, we're on the Taconic State Parkway, which I'm familiar with, and it scares me every day. The wrong way sign. There's a lot of metaphor and symbols happening here, and we're both within the head of the narrator, but also finding our way into the story. So I think what I appreciate most about this is sort of the tension between the modern world, the intercom announcement, the freeway, references to Bambi, and then references to Crepuscular. So we have a lot of clashing going on between the modern day and this sort of ethereal, scenic landscape that we first encountered on the cover.
Does it make you want to read more?
Most definitely makes me want to read more.